Hello, everybody. Welcome to the online version of Macroeconomics 2040 in the second summer session. And my name is Ash Morgan, and I'm going to be the one basically talking you through this course. The purpose of this introduction is just to kind of familiarize yourself with the setup. But essentially, the way I view this is the online course is very similar to just the in-class experience. Obviously, the main difference being you're not physically in a classroom, but the way I set up the course and my expectations of what you should be doing just stay the same. So it's really the same setup as if I was teaching this in Peacock Hall. So I'll talk a little bit about the setup in a second, but just to start off with, there's the course outline, which if you go to, really describes what this course is about and its setup. And so, important detail up front is my email address. So that's obviously the main way to communicate with each other. And so if you have any questions as the course develops, any issues come up, then send me an email. My goal is to get back to you as quickly as possible. And so I'll be checking my email, multiple times a day, and I'll strive to get back to you as quickly as possible. I'll let you read the course description and objectives in your own time. Just sort of skipping to the main parts here. First of all, the book. I've highlighted two books. The reason I do that is because the first one here, the McConnell, Brew and Flynn, is the one that I pull most of the material from. In the past, the bookshop's had some trouble getting this one in. I believe that's been solved now. So previously, I would highlight a second book that students could refer to. But ideally, you can get your hands on this first one. But then I was thinking that, well, maybe you're out of town and access to a book might be difficult. And so what I do is just jump back to the course, the chapters where it's most important. What I've done, so for example, here we get down to what's called the aggregate expenditures model. The chapter here, I just upload the chapter from that McConnell, Brew and Flynn book, so you have it right here. And so if for some reason you find it difficult to get the book, then for the important parts, I really pull from the book. I've basically photocopied the chapters for you and then uploaded them to the website, the As You Learn page, and so you can follow along if you need to. If that makes sense. So getting your hands on the book isn't crazily important, especially if you're out of town and these things are expensive. So you might be well able just to circumvent that problem and just use these photocopies when it's relevant. And so in terms of your sort of the scoring and what you need to be doing, it's basically set up 75% of your total score, your grade, if you like, will be from exams, and 25% come from quizzes, online quizzes, which you'll be taking almost every day. Basically, you take a quiz after each piece of material. Some pieces of material are a bit bigger than others, so they sort of overlap into 2 days. But as long as you're thinking that pretty much every day you'd be taking a quiz or an exam. And so, first of all, the exams, the way I do these are you get 4 in total, so 3 midterm style exams, 3 after what would be in this summer class maybe a week of material, and then a final. The final's comprehensive. They're all worth 25%. And what happens is if you take all 4, then I just pick your best 3. Also gives you the chance to miss one if you have to. don't really know why you would, but ideally you take all four, and then I just pick your best three. Or another way of thinking about it, if you do well on the three midterms and you're happy with how you've done, then you don't have to take the final. So that's kind of almost the goal, really, is maybe trying to avoid taking the final by doing as well as you can on the three midterms. As part of that, though, as I stated here, I don't give makeup exams. Difficult in the online environment, difficult in the summertime. I don't even do that in the semester, to be honest. It's just too many students, too much going on. Everyone has the same chance to collect these points. So, no favoritism given. If you're traveling one day or something comes up, that might happen. But I do leave the exams basically open all day. You have a time window, but you can take the exam at any point in that day. And so, pretty much, unless you're flying to Australia or something, then you should have time to sit down on the exam day and take the exam. And the same thing goes with the quizzes. With the quizzes, I actually I need to change that. I don't give you a 14, as you can see that's during the semester. But if you scroll down, you can see I go down to quiz 12 in a summer session. So you'll be taking 12 quizzes, and I'll let you drop one again, and I'll pick your best 11. And so collectively they're worth 25 points. So roughly, if 11, each one's roughly worth 2.5 points, right? So individually, an exam isn't worth that much, but it adds up. If you start missing quizzes, I should have said quizzes. The quizzes aren't worth that much. But if you start missing them, then that starts to stack up. Let's say you miss 2 or 3. Well, that's 7.5 points that you'll never get back. So a quiz is designed really just to make sure that you're comfortable with the material. You just take, 10, 15 minutes. And so after each piece of material, just get yourself ready, take the quiz, and then you move on. If you're repeating that every day, which again you are pretty much, then there's no reason why you should be missing them. So 75% for the exams, 25% for the quizzes. I'll let you drop one exam. I'll let you drop one quiz. Okay. Then you got the grading scale. So come early August, you'll fall into one of these categories, and then this is what determines your overall grade. I also, and again, you can look at this in your own time, but I also look at the topics covered and sort of to outline your learning objectives, really what you should be getting out of each topic. As you can see, the first couple of topics are really micro topics. Just some of micro does carry on over to the world of macroeconomics. And so I've recapped demand and supply. I've recapped some of the early stuff like opportunity cost. Some of the concepts you would have covered very early in your microeconomics class. And so that's kind of a recap. Make sure that we're okay with that stuff. And then now we start to move on into the world of macroeconomics, where we're going to be talking about the economy and how the economy works, and why you go through good times and why you go through bad times, and when you're going through the bad times, what can you do about it? Different theories about that. So that's the world of macroeconomics, when we're looking at the big picture. And so for us, the big picture is the national economy and sort of how that works, And so lots of these terms you would have heard of before: gross domestic product, inflation, unemployment, all different metrics we use to kind of measure how the economy's going. So we'll be talking about all those things, and why you don't want the economy to be doing too well. Too well comes with a problem. Or obviously you don't want it to be suffering from high unemployment. And so we kind of look at the trade-offs between the economy fluctuating from a bad year to a good year, and hopefully how you can try and keep an economy ticking over nicely for a long period of time. So if you spend a few minutes looking at these topics and your learning objectives, that might just help you out before before each specific topic before you look at the videos. So again, I'll just let you spend some time looking at this stuff. The main part of this is sort of here with these macroeconomic relationships and these models that we'll look at. So we're going to look at models that kind of try and explain how the economy works. And so there's this relationship between us all spending money and how that drives output, and how that system works, and how sometimes we can actually spend too much money and sometimes we're not spending enough money, and how that drives the economy. So that's what these models are developed for, to help us kind of understand those processes. So again, just spend some time looking through these. Something else just to consider, I've also laid out the sort of schedule in terms of which days you should be looking at what. So day one for us is July the 5th. July the 5th is the first day of the second session. And so on July 5th, it was shown here that you can look again at this video if maybe this is the first time you're looking at it, but maybe if you've already looked at it, maybe you want to look at it again. But basically, July 5th, day one is the first introduction here, looking at limits, alternatives, and choices. And so that's what you should be doing on July 5th. And then the second day of class is July the 9th, and we're looking at the video on demand and supply. It's just laying out for you on each day of our class in this summer session what you should be looking at. And so again, the first few days, which is obviously going through material. And here we have exam 1. And so in exam 1, July the 16th, you should be looking at, sitting down, getting yourself ready to take that first exam. This just outlines for you what's happening as the semester goes on, all the way down through the final exam on August the 7th. Okay. I've also laid out here when each quiz is. Basically, each quiz is on the day that you review the videos, you look at the material. So the quizzes are laid out there. You really don't even have to look at this. If you go to the course outline, it's already set up for you. And so here we have, the introduction. Okay, so once you look at the video, you can click on the quiz here. You'll see that this quiz, obviously right now, is not available. But on the July the 5th, it will open at 8 a.m. It will close at 11:45 p.m. So that's your window for taking all quizzes and exams. Just in case you're a morning person, you want to take it first thing, then it's open at 8. Or you might be an evening person, you want to take it late, then it stays open until 11:45. And so for a quiz, you have 2 hours to take it, which is a long time for a quiz. Again, it's only going to be a 10-15 minute exercise. But just in case you want to take your time, I don't leave it open for the whole day. That wouldn't make sense. So you have a 2 hour window. Whenever you click go, your 2 hours starts. In terms of the exams, I'll just skip down to the first exam. Here we are, exam 1. Exam 1, again, July the 16th. Again, you have between 8 a.m. and 11:45 p.m. You do have a time limit of 1 hour and 10 minutes. So your 70-minute time window. So again, it's constrained. Therefore, when you take the exam, even though it's online and you can have your materials open, you constrain somewhat. You're not going to be able to spend too much time looking through the material. You're going to be expected to kind of know this stuff. You'll get about 40 questions. And so, you have less than 2 minutes a question. So you should be ready to take the exam just like you would be if you were going into the classroom and taking it without your books open. And so it's all set up waiting. And so you can see on the right-hand side here, the first few quizzes telling you, again, July the 5th, quiz 1, July the 9th, quiz 2, it's all set up. If you click the calendar and go down, you see obviously lots going on in July, and each day it's telling you what is due that particular day. You have a couple of days where nothing's due in terms of a quiz or an exam. Those are the days when you're covering a bit more material, and so the topic spans over 2 different classes. And so if I go back if I go down, that's when we get down to here. You see the aggregate expenditures model. I've got one presentation here and a second one on the next day. So you don't take the quiz until after the second day. And so that happens twice, once there and once straight below with the aggregate demand, aggregate supply model, where again, the topic's a bit too big to cover in one class. So that's the basic setup. You should know, again, just familiarize yourself with the course outline. You should know on each day exactly what's expected of you. And so obviously it's your job to kind of keep up. If for some reason, you miss a quiz, then again, you can drop one. But what I don't do is go back and reopen quizzes. You have all day. Again, even if you're traveling, you should have time to sit down and take the quiz or the exam. And so I don't reopen. And so if you miss it, then you've missed it. Nothing else really to see here. Again, you can look it down the course outline, the syllabus. But again, I mentioned no makeup exams, and just so it's been stated explicitly, I don't give any extra credit. So again, everyone has the same opportunity to get 100 points essentially. And so that's really it for the intro. Again, I think it's worth just spending some time going through this just to make sure that you're okay. Again, any questions, any issues come up, please send me an email. Again, I'll strive to get back to you as quickly as possible. And I hope that you get something out of this class. I think that we cover a lot of topics that, again, you would have heard of. I think it's important just generally in life that you understand how an economy works. When you're coming to vote, for example, who you're going to vote for, where you have to have your own opinion on how you think things should be. And so a macroeconomics class is a really good introduction to kind of understanding how these systems work. And there's different ways of looking at it. There's when you're in a recession, for example, then, there's different people look at how do you get out of a recession differently. And so hopefully here I can inform you enough so that you can make up your own opinion. Okay, so again, any emails, any issues, just send me an email. Okay.